So, after I reviewed Soldier of Fortune Payback in 2016, I got a whole bunch of comments telling me I should play the first two games because apparently they're so much better that by the time I'm done playing them, Payback won't even exist in my mind anymore. So, I've played the first one, and I have to say to everyone who recommended this over Payback, did we play the same game? Is this the one right here? The one you guys played? Because it's the one I played, although I'm not entirely sure of that. In fact, part of me thinks that we've played two completely different games. Then again, everyone who recommended the first two over Payback were never able to explain why they're so much better when I asked them. Even in comments I've read on other YouTube videos, I see fans of the game admitting that it's nothing more than a standard shooter with a completely irrelevant story. So I have a good feeling that everyone who said it's so much better than Payback were simply blinded by nostalgia because, make no mistake, Soldier of Fortune is a standard fare shooter, even for the time, which was all the way back in 2000. The only thing that stands out is the ability to blast limbs off bad guys. You can shoot their limbs and head off and other hit points like the throat, the gut, things like that. It was one of the first games to do something like this, but besides that, nothing. It might as well be a tech demo. And to be fair, some of the criticisms I've seen of Payback I do agree with, because Payback is far from perfect. I wouldn't even call it good by an objective stance, it's more like a decent weekend romp. But on the other hand, every criticism of Payback I agree with is here as well. For starters, the story and the main character. Yeah, Thomas Mason in Payback isn't what I would call a leading man. You never learn anything about him, and he never gets any kind of character development. But John Mullins, as far as the first game is concerned, is exactly the same. In fact, I'd say he's even more paper-thin than Mason. I mean, at least with Mason, from what he said throughout the course of Payback, it does help establish a little bit of his personality and moral compass, but Mullins never gets anything like that. For example, at the beginning of Payback, where this guy Quan Lee is murdered by Mason's partner, Mason had more of a reaction to Quan's death, a guy who he had never met, than Mullins did to his best friend getting murdered right in front of him.
What the fuck are you doing? You were supposed to protect him.
No, you were.
No!
See what I mean? Sure, the guy voicing Mason didn't do an Oscar-worthy job, but compare that to how Mullins reacted. His best friend, his brother from another mother, gets shot dead right in front of him, and he reacts like he accidentally dropped his phone in the toilet while it's still under warranty. As for every other character, they all feel like placeholders. It's almost like the game was 99% done and the script for the story still hadn't been written yet, so everyone's like, fuck it, just throw these placeholders in there and call it a day. Even though Payback's story was super cliche, at least it kept my interest. Another thing, about the level design, people saying Payback's levels are super linear, well, so are the levels here. Soldier of Fortune is a by-the-numbers hallway shooter through and through. Now, it does have a few points over Payback in this case because there are times where you need to do a little out-of-the-box thinking to progress in the level as you're seeing here, but besides that, it's nothing beyond the standard fare. Even the weapons and enemies are about as basic as it gets. And as far as the overall look of the levels go, 90% of them are nothing but brown and gray everywhere you look. Except for the ones in Tokyo. Those don't look so bad, but at the same time, that's like, what, 3 levels out of the 24 that we have here? It's not the worst looking game, even for 2000, but at the same time, come on, Raven Software, do you think you could have added a few more colors to the color palette, maybe? Oh, and one more thing, the boss fights. I praised the helicopter boss in Payback because even though it was just shooting a helicopter with a big health bar, every time it got weaker, the music changed to let you know that you were making progress, and people were all like, dude, that's the definition of a terrible boss fight. Every boss fight in this game is just a regular dude with a huge health bar, and the boss fights in the first Soldier of Fortune are so much better. Yeah, no they're not. Just like Payback, every boss fight here is nothing but a regular dude with a huge health bar, with the last boss even having a one-hit kill weapon for extra frustration. And unlike the chopper in Payback, you don't get any indication when the chopper you fight here is getting weaker. And that's all I have to say. Overall, I found Soldier of Fortune 1 to be boring and unremarkable, and I'm still confused as to what makes it so much better than Payback. If anyone wants to try explaining it to me, hey, knock yourself out. I won't try to stop you. But I don't think you'll get very far, because rest assured, in my book, Payback is still the best game out of the three. Soldier of Fortune 2 might change my mind, but from what I've been hearing people say about it in the recent reviews that have been posted on YouTube, that seems pretty unlikely. Alright kids, thanks for watching. If you're already subbed to the channel or are about to, be sure to hit the bell so you get notified when I post a video, hit the like button, and give me some feedback. I don't care if it's good or bad.